What's up, guys? I'm back here with another Colts podcast. Have a few things I want to talk about today, get through. Um, Free agency is well under the way. We've seen the Colts be quiet and make some moves. So it's been cool to sit back and look at free agency over the NFL and especially with the AFC South. I'll go into that a little bit later. But we're going to talk today a little bit about the way too early predictions for the 2019 NFL season, what I expect out of the Colts, and what I think they can do, what I think they can improve on from last year, and kind of overall expectations from what I've seen from Frank Reich and the coaching staff, the players, and what I see as well. So we'll get right into it, and I'll start talking on some of the things that I think could be improved this year, coming out of last year. I think that the Colts really, and this is something that Frank Reich has really honed in on, that they want to improve the ground game. They're 20th in the league last year running the football, even though I think that Marlon Mack certainly had some breakout games. They were still 20th in the league. That's something that I think the Colts are going to need to get over the hump. They're going to need more consistent ground play. You did not see it in the Kansas City game in the playoffs. And I really think that that was a part of your downfall. So getting the ground game going, you got Marlon Mack and your two rookies. If you don't sign somebody in free agency, you haven't so far to this point. I think you rely on the ground game, but I, it's just going to have to develop, and that's going to come with the new offensive line coach and the offensive line working their tails off here in their second year together. So I think it's exciting to see the possibilities, and of course Andrew is gonna always love production on the ground, make his job that much easier. I think another thing they really struggled on last year, so on the other side of the ball, was pass defense. And this was maybe due to the scheme. The Colts are notorious for running that Tampa 2, give some underneath coverage sometimes, don't give up the big play. I think that sometimes you can't be content with that because the teams like the Patriots of the league are going to look at the matchups and look at everything and pick you apart. So that's the last thing you want, is being too predictable. So I think that that's going to be something that the Colts need to improve on, whether that's playing more press coverage, press zone at the line, or throwing in some, zone man schemes, or, just switching it up entirely, running some cover two man. Um, it's just something to throw the defense or throw the offense off balance, off rhythm, and give them some different looks. Because I think that at times, Eberflus was terrific. Obviously, he really turned around the defensive culture of the Colts. But I think that at times he was too predictable, especially at the beginning of the season, and that can lead to some problems, especially against some of the other teams. Another thing I think can be improved is receiving core. We've seen David Funchess come onto the Colts. I think that's a great pickup. It's a prove it deal for 24, 25-year-old guy to come in here, out, first deal off his rookie contract, uh, out of Michigan, and see what the hell he could do. He has had the worst drop rate in the NFL last year, and what can he do? Can he be another Eric Ebron? I think he can. If Chris Ballard brought him on here, it's obvious that he fits the scheme. If he fits the locker room, he fits what the Colts are looking for. So don't look at these signings lightly. I think that something can definitely be said of Funchess's character after the Colts brought him in, and he's just seems to be all in. So receiving core, right now, I think that Funches will be your number two. Yeah, it's a little early to say. You're gonna have your camp battles, obviously, to see who's in there. But you look at your wide receiver group right now, and you have T.Y. Hilton, Devin Funches, Dion Kane. I really think highly of him. We'll see how he does after his ACL injury. Chester Rogers, I don't think too highly of him, but the Colts seem to really like him. Um, and I think that they need to draft somebody. So, somewhere, I don't think probably first round, but third round, I would love to see the Colts get a receiver. So that's five right there. And obviously that leaves out your Dontrell Inman that you still haven't signed. That is going to visit the Detroit Lions this week. Um, that leaves out your Reese Fountain. That leaves out Marcus Johnson, I believe. So it's going to be a competition, probably more than we've seen in the past couple of years, especially if they draft a wide receiver, which I really think they should. And it's going to be cool. So beside Ty, we're going to see who steps up, and I think that they're going to use Rogers a lot as kind of a flex slot type thing. So um, I look for him to be on there as well, even though it maybe not be the best thing. But, I think the Colts, with what they have, they should be content with how they finished the year last year and know that within the AFC South, they're a force to be reckoned with. And I looked a little bit around the AFC South, some of the signings that kind of stood out to me out of each team, and I'll go through the list right now. The Titans were the one that kind of stuck out to me. The Titans are kind of the bottom epsilon of the AFC South. If you ask me, they're kind of the one that everybody seems to overlook. It's the Colts and the Texans at the top. Jacksonville, it's like, oh, Nick Foles. But the Titans really are, I don't really know what they're doing. They go into the offseason, they add Ryan Tannehill, a veteran quarterback that has struggled winning games in Miami. He's been decent, looking at his passer rating and his, uh, you know, career completion percentage in yards, but, has that formulated to wins? Well, not really. And I think that's why uh, the Dolphins are inevitably moving away from him. This guy was in the same draft as Andrew Luck, and he just hasn't produced. So, seeing that, I think Tannehill's a good guy. I think that maybe he brings some veteran leadership to the Titans, and I still think that Marcus Mariota is their guy, but maybe he adds some veteran perspective, and he'll be a seasoned backup, and I think that Mariota gets hurt regardless. I hate to say that about somebody, but it just seems like that's just due to happen. So we look at that. They add Adam Humphries, another wide receiver. You know, they Corey Davis. They already have him. He was pretty good last year for them. He didn't do too well against the Colts, but he still had a good year for what the Titans are going to do. And then they bring Cam Wake from the Dolphins as well, or an ex-Dolphin rather, and he's just old as dirt. So I don't look for him to be a big disruptor for the Colts. I think that the Colts offensive line is good enough to kind of handle a veteran like that. But I don't think the Texans are going to be too much of a uh, disruption for the Colts. I really think that um, it'll be probably the Texans, which I'm going to talk about right now, and why I think it's a little interesting. Um, Looking at the Texans, their cap room and cash right now is not bottom tier of the NFL, but it's also not it's not the top tier as well. So, but they're not spending. I look, and to me, their most reasonable, notable signing is Darren Fells out of free agency, and that's really not that big of a upgrade. You know what I mean? So, and they get some depth across the board. I'm not even going to bother saying the names here because they're just, pretty bleak. But, um, the Texans really haven't done a whole lot. They have Deshaun Watson and, DeAndre Hopkins, and, you certainly have to worry about those guys. But I really think that um, the Colts are doing a little bit better of a job than the Texans. In my opinion, in this offseason, I've seen on Twitter and on social media that Texans fans are a little clammy for something to happen. Maybe because they know the Colts are right behind them right now. Um, and you look right here at the Jaguars. Obviously, they had Nick Foles, a big upgrade to Blake Bortles. Even though Blake Bortles has seemed like he's been Joe Montana against the Colts in recent years. It's an upgrade at quarterback. I have a lot of respect for Nick Foles. Do I think it's their answer? No. So I really don't think this is going to be too big of a thing for the Jaguars. They went and paid him a lot of money, got rid of Blake Bortles completely. So it is the Nick Foles train in Jacksonville. Nobody knows how it's going to happen until season starts, but you saw Nick Foles how he was to start the year last year in Philly. He's a great situational quarterback. He came in and had an unbelievable run in Philly and deserved everything he got. But do I think that's sustainable for the next 2, 3, 4 years? Absolutely not. So look at that, and it's kind of an eyebrow raiser for me. It's kind of a band-aid fix at your most important position. Uh, Not really what you like to see. They also added Swaim, the tight end. I think that's good. They haven't really had. They added Vernon Davis a couple of years ago, but I haven't even known Titans tight end or Jaguars tight end since then, honestly. So, we'll see how that goes. He had a decent year last year, so maybe he adds a certain sort of piece to them. They also added Jake Ryan. That could be something that could help their club too. So, some things being made in the AFC South, not any big moves, any eye-opening moves besides the Nick Foles, maybe the Ryan Tannehill. That's a little strange, but nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy. Um, I still feel great about the Colts' chance this year within not only the division but the NFL in whole. But the division, I think that um, they have certainly a chance to win it. I think that the Texans are going to take a step back this year. They've kind of, in my opinion, they've overachieved the past couple of years. The Titans and the Jags are going to be better than they were last year, I think for sure, and the Titans are going to stay about the same. If you ask me, I think the Colts are going to go 12-4. Texans will be second place, 10-6. The Jaguars close behind, 9-6, and the Titans is 8-8, 7-9 type season. Just what kind of expect out of the Titans. They just their quarterback situation is just so up in the air, and that's just not what you like to see. They definitely have the worst quarterback situation in the AFC South for sure. So that's just you can't overlook that. But looking at the AFC in whole, who is the best team? Oh man, I think it's wide open. I can name four that I think are going to be the top tier of the AFC. You could probably add a couple more in there. I think the Colts definitely number one. Patriots obviously defending AFC or defending Super Bowl champs. Number two, Kansas City, team that beat you, got Patrick Mahomes. Number three, and number four is one that could be debated, but I think the Cleveland Browns are going to really step it up this year. I think a lot of Baker Mayfield and adding Odell Beckham. I mean, that's just going to be like kid at a candy store for Baker. So I think they're going to take control of their division, and we're going to see how this goes, and it's going to be a lot of fun. the Colts are going to have some really big games here. But I think that 12-4, 11-5 can be manageable. You started the year at 1-5 this year and end up 10-6. It just seems unreal, really, for the majority of the fans expecting, a kind of a 500 football team. They really overachieved. So this year is really going to be a step up to see what the hell happens. Um, we're 1 month to the draft. It's exciting, looking at the mock drafts and seeing, what can be available. I have no idea, and I think it'd be silly for me to even sit here and try to think of guys that Chris Ballard's thinking of, because he's gonna pick somebody that probably little little to be known of the fans. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna pick somebody that is a great player here in the first round. I have no doubt about that. They almost have really back-to-back picks with their early second round pick from the Jets. So it's great. You got your 9 picks, and you can get healthy in this draft, and that's just going to be awesome. That's everything that Chris Ballard wants. He loves to build in the draft. So it is pretty exciting to see this coming up. Colts still have 70 mil plus in cap space left. Still the most in the NFL, even after adding Justin Houston to your squad. Chris Ballard's done so good. He didn't take the bait and sign some crazy player in the first couple of days. He waited. He got value for his players, and I look for them to have good years. We'll see with Funchess. I think he's definitely more of a prove it guy, but Justin Houston's going to be solid. I think we know that, and anybody that's seen the tape of him could certainly say the same. Um, it's gonna be fun, man. Let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. Let me know what you think the AFC South is going to look like, what the AFC and NFL in general is going to look like. It's a lot of fun. I have a lot of high hopes on the NFL. I keep telling everybody that the Colts are going to be reckoned with. Keep an eye on them. And they're getting more and more national attention. So much more than this time last year. They were written off as a bad team, and nobody thought that Andrew Luck would return like he has, and he really has. And to see my favorite player in the NFL, Andrew Luck, come back, it's a dream come true, really. And to see it come out is fun. I'm gonna report about the Colts either way, good or bad. I'm gonna give my opinion. I'm gonna stick by them. But I'm happy to to keep it rolling and 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 talk to y'all. If you guys enjoy, please leave a like. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be posting podcasts about 1 or 2 times a week, depending on what comes out with the news and stuff. So thank you guys for listening. This year is going to be a lot of fun. As more news comes out, I think I'm going to have a little bit more meat to talk about. Today was kind of more of an overview, kind of what my thoughts are. I think that they're great, man. All across the board, you look at it, and I have high hopes, especially for this offense. I think it can be full go. Let's get it. We'll see how the defense comes together in the second year. Darius Leonard's a stud. We know that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm happy to be here on the ride. Thanks, guys, for listening. I'll catch you guys next time. Have a great rest of your week.